Okay, so today we are going to go over my bikini competitions. I did 2 competitions and I coached myself. And I'm going to go over what I learned. Um, when I was prepping for these, I had a hard time finding good information that was detailed to help me get organized before the competition. So if you're planning on doing one or you're just curious as to what it takes a lot of organization, planning. There's just so much. So I'm going to get into it. I'm going to create a more detailed course as well, going over checklists and planning a diet and planning workouts, basically outlining everything I did. I wrote a book called the Bikini Handbook as I was going through my first competition and documented what I did and what worked for me in that first competition. And then in my second competition, I took what I learned and I improved it. And so we'll go over that today. So you can see I actually took screenshots from a lot of my books. I'll put a link down below to the book. It's only 99 cents on Amazon. I made sure it was affordable for everyone so that you can really use it. Again, because I felt as though there's not a good resource without spending thousands of dollars on coaches. So let's get into it. Okay, so why did I do this? I wanted to challenge myself. I had started going to the gym and a lot of people started asking me if I was competing in anything. And I got so many questions about it. I decided I might as well give this competing thing a try. I didn't really know what I was getting into. So I started doing a lot of research. And in my research, I found that there was a lot of coaches. Everything was really expensive. And I didn't want to commit that level of finances. And I also wanted to do this as a learning experience. And I felt as though if I was going to learn the most out of it and get the most out of it, I would coach myself. So I did all my own diet and strength and peak week, all that. Other than, well, I actually did learn posing on my own, but I wasn't very good at it. If there's anything I needed to work on, it was the posing department. So I definitely recommend getting a coach if you're not talented in that way. So people that have done modeling, people that have done dancing professionally or at a high level are going to have a huge advantage here because they understand body lines and positioning for that stage. So there's a ton to learn there for sure. But I wrote a book years ago called the Bikini Handbook, and it's on Amazon, only 99 cents. It's accessible for everyone. I think it's even free if you have Audible, or there's like I think there's a free version. I don't know, but it's really inexpensive. And this is where I started. And this is where I ended up when I decided to start looking at competing. So first off, my transformation from here to here took at least a year to 2 years. Okay, so I want to emphasize the importance of learning how to lift and doing so properly with good form and doing your best to learn what exercises work best for you and get that mind muscle connection first before you look at competing. Okay, and getting the mindset around food under control. Okay, or not under control, but the mindset around food in a healthy way. So one of the issues that I had with the bodybuilding community in particular is not to say that everyone, but there's a lot of mental dysfunction and mindset dysfunction in the community and in the coaching community. And I didn't want to be a part of that. And I wanted this to be a positive experience. I wanted to grow from it. I wanted it to add to my colorful life and add to my knowledge. I didn't want it to leave scars in my brain and cause further dysfunction, because I already have an addictive personality. I've already had struggled with addiction and alcohol. I didn't want to put myself in a situation where I would then become obsessive in a bad way, right? We can be obsessive in a good way and obsessive in a bad way. It all comes down to, are you doing this out of love for yourself or hate? Are you punishing yourself because you don't like the way you look? Or are you working out to improve yourself and because you love yourself? So you can do the same action. I've said this before, like fasting. Fasting is an action. Not eating is an action. Not eating can be anorexia, or not eating can be fasting, right? And the difference comes from why you're doing it. Are you punishing yourself with the anorexic mindset, or are you fasting out of a religious, out of love? Is it religious? Is it spiritual? Is it growth minded? There's so many different ways to frame these kind of things. So I want to preface it with that, just to set expectations as to what I got going on here. So this is the cover of the book. I didn't put, it's not I'm not a good writer. I am going to say that up front. Writing is not my best ability. I have certainly worked on it. I have a tendency towards dyslexia when I write, not with numbers, but with vowels specifically. So it is a difficult process for me, but I wanted to document an outline. That's why I called it a handbook, because it's not meant to be a story. I should have incorporated some sort of a story, because there is a very interesting story around it. And I may add to this later, but I just needed to get it out. It was one of those where I said, I'm going to do what I can now to get this information out, to help people that can get through it and understand, get through the organizational side of it. And then I can always add the story later, which I'm using this video for. So as I've grown and learned my tendencies and learned myself and learned to be more compassionate towards my strengths and my weaknesses, spoken word is a bigger strength of mine than written word. And so I am going with that for now. So in this introduction, I just state, okay, this is my contact information. If you have any questions, you can get through this. You can also follow me on Instagram. It's an accumulation of my personal knowledge. I'm not a personal trainer. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian. I have worked in corporate wellness. And as I pursued corporate wellness, I fell in love with personal health and fitness. Okay, and this is part of my experience of what I've learned from Hard Knocks and from doing, right? Learn by doing, that is my way. Okay, so giving your friends and family a heads up. So first things first, you have to budget. So competing is way more expensive than I thought it was going to be when I first got into this. I thought that people that went on stage won money of some sort if they won. I thought they might get, if they did well, they might get contracts for modeling or something. It's not like that anymore. There was a time where in bodybuilding, if you got to the professional level and you won something, you would automatically get a contract with a supplement company or with photos and magazines and all that. But it's become such a diluted industry with so many different classes, because we have to remember it started with men's bodybuilding. So men's bodybuilding is the core of everything. It's the one that started this sport or beauty pageant or whatever you want to call it. So with that, I am going to go over the reality of what it is and how, if you want to do this in a growth opportunity way, and you're coming at it with a healthy mindset, I think that you will find this information useful. Get support from your close friends and family if you are committing to a bikini contest, letting everyone know about it and the date that in the show you are choosing is the best way to go. You want to let everybody know ahead of time because you're going to be showing up at Tupperware and eating things that people think are strange. Unfortunately, in American culture today, eating healthy is not socially acceptable. It's just like going to a party and not drinking. People ask questions. People think it's strange. If you go out to eat and you don't order anything or eat an appetizer, or you don't eat the bread, people want to know what's up. Like, why are you not eating the pizza with me? Like, you got to eat the pizza. Got to eat the cake. No, you don't have to. So again, coming at this from a healthy as possible point of view, right? Fortifying our minds, not degrading them. Also, it's a time commitment. So training and dieting will take some extra time and mental energy, emotional energy, depending on how you cope with these outlines and these protocols. Your body will change and some people might get concerned. Some people that see you drop 20 pounds might think that you're, especially when you're in clothes, it looks different when you're at the gym and your muscles are, you know, flaring out because you have a pump. But when you're in regular clothes, you look thinner, especially if it's a low carb day or something like that. People will go, oh my gosh, you're getting so thin. And is everything okay? And especially at the end, your face, some people's faces get very gaunt, especially if you're really leaning out and you're getting any kind of dehydration kicking in, you can look very skeletal. So people get concerned sometimes. So just, like I said, let everybody know and keep the communication open. Okay, you might need some extra support from friends and family. Or you might not be able to go out for a while. You might be too tired. I mean, the training, if you want to do well, some people just do it to do it. But if you actually want to compete and you want to try to place and you want to try to get, you know, first in your class or first through third in your class or win the open, you have to try. You have to do your very best. Okay, like I said, there's a lot of people that compete now. And especially if you're going to a bigger show, you have to work your ass off in the kitchen and at the gym. So when you put in 2-a-days, when you're working out twice a day, especially near the end, and you're getting off that last, 5% of body fat, you are going to have that extra time. You're going to need that extra time in the gym. And then you're actually going to be tired, right? Because as you burn body fat, it's an energy sucker from your body. Your body gets tired working out like that. So you're going to need extra sleep. If you're used to 6 hours now, you might need 12 hours some days. You might need a nap. It's something that it does take time. So keep that in mind. So number one, make a budget. Go through everything that you need, create a checklist, communicate that budget with your partner, whoever you share bills with. When you choose a competition date, go on that promoter's website. So in bodybuilding, it's not one company, right? It's not like UFC, where UFC is the promoter and the sports organization, or the NBA, is a lot of times, well, I guess they have different sports teams, but the UFC is putting on everything. They're not outsourcing the venue to someone else, right? They are in control of every aspect of the UFC. Well, with bodybuilding, it's a lot like boxing, where you have an association, and this one, the NPC, is the most popular. There are others. So there's the natural one. There's several now, but most people choose NPC because it's the easiest to get access to shows. And also, if you qualify, you can go on to nationals, and nationals is how you get your pro card. So it's a bigger organization. So a lot of people choose that. And a lot of the better promoters choose to work with NPC for that reason. Now, not all promoters are created equal. There's some promoters that are new or not so good, and that's going to affect your experience at the show. If you go to a show with a bad promoter, you're probably going to have a bad experience. So in this case, you are the customer. You are paying them, you are paying the promoter to walk your butt on stage and show off half naked and have a judge give you a medal or not give you a medal. Okay, so you get to choose where you want to compete. And so check out the website, look at the photos, see if it's a nice venue or not. Like, are you going to be going to some nasty hotel? Or are you going to a nice place? Now, the nicer places, the better the better promoters are going to be more expensive. So it's going to be like $400 per class. Some are like 200 and something. I always chose the nicer ones. So it's about $400 per class. That might be going up now with inflation, but I don't know, maybe not, because hotels might not be experiencing inflation right now. Anyway, some girls enter multiple classes, especially for their first competition, or their coaches recommend they do it. A lot of times they'll do the bikini open and the bikini novice. So if you do that, that is $400 per class, and that's going to be $800 just for you to get up on stage and walk your butt around twice, because you're going to have pre-judging and then finals, right? So that's what that pays for. That's it. That's all you get in the class thing. It's the opportunity to get on stage twice per class. Then you have all these other things. You have to buy your NPC card. It might be more now. And when at the time I wrote this is $150. I'm sure it's more now. You want photos. You want stage photos, right? So a lot of times people get photos. That's another $100. Okay, bikini bite, the registration, tickets for your family. If your family or your friends want to come, it's going to be 20, 30, 40, $50 each. So the promoter's making money off of every competitor, and then they're making money off of every family member or friend that comes to see you. Okay. I would say take a sewing kit, because those bikinis, something might fall off. So if your bikini falls apart, you're not going on stage. They won't let you up there naked. So you take a sewing kit with you. You take bikini bite because you want things to stick. Because they do not allow thongs, even though they look like thongs. So technically to me, that is a thong. But according to the competition, the thong it has to cover like 1/4 of your butt at least. Go to the competitors or the promoter's website and read the rules. That's another one of the recommendations I have in this book. So this is a typical bikini. It has rhinestones all over it. The more bling you have, the better. The more eye-catching it is on stage, because all those stage lights are hitting you. You want bling on your wrists. You're not allowed to wear a necklace, so a lot of girls put bling on their tie back here and on the hips here. Some do bling on their shoes, and you want bling on both hands and earrings, as much bling as you can get. So these are just, again, some examples. I see all the girls, rings, So you have to buy those too, and you have to buy your shoes. A lot of girls have their posing practice shoes, and then they have their stage shoes because they get dirty and nasty. And then you have to buy your jewelry, of course, and you have to buy your bikini and your tan and your hair. So either you take someone with you that you can do your hair, like a friend, a good friend, and then you want your makeup done. And there's a specific way to do your makeup when you're up there because you're like oompa loompa out. You got like super dark body and a white face doesn't go well. So you have to buy all new makeup. You can't use your regular day-to-day makeup. You have to use specific stage makeup. MAC is preferable because it stays on better. It's for stage, it's for photo shoots. That's what MAC is for. You can do your own tan. I wouldn't recommend it unless you have someone that goes with you that has been doing bodybuilding for years and years and years. It's usually about $100 to do your tan at the event. So I didn't realize this. I thought that maybe you would have to leave the event to go do a tan and then come back. No, they have a booth set up. There's a specific tanner that is contracted for that event, and they have girls just spraying everybody all day long and doing touch-ups. So after you check in and before pre-judging, you book your spot ahead of time and you pay for it ahead of time. You go sign in and they spray you down. And then if you need a touch-up after pre-judging or before your finals, you go back and they touch you up. A lot of times the $100 is included, the touch-ups are included. If you want to have hair done at an event, you have to track down a hairstylist that is working that event and pay her usually about $150. And same with makeup. Some girls do both hair and makeup, some don't. Sometimes it's separate. So you got to plan all that in between. Excuse me. All right. And then my first show, I just cut it really short. So this was my first show. I did an A-line. So I didn't have extensions, but my second show, I really wanted extensions. I really wanted a different look than what I did on my first show. So I bought extensions, and extensions are expensive, especially if you're getting good ones. So that's an extra cost that I had to think about. And again, here gets in the MAC makeup, go to the MAC makeup counter. One kind of hack around this is to go in and ask for samples. Go into a Macy's or go into Ulta or Sephora and get samples of different MAC makeup that are a couple of shades lighter. Do not use mineral makeup. It'll make you shiny and it'll make you look oily on stage. You want matte, 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 matte. And you don't want it your natural skin tone, and you don't want it as dark as your body. So that was my issue with my first competition. I didn't know what I was doing. So I was a little bit dark in the face. You can't really see it here. These pictures aren't very good, but my face was a little dark. I still won my class, by the way, but my face was a little dark. The second one, I got the makeup down. I did more of a contouring. I did just darker contouring than I would usually do. And that worked. And especially here, because, excuse me, sorry for the ear rape. I hit my microphone and now it doesn't want to stay up. Especially blending here. So dark here and then blending into here, but not too much because you don't want to mess up your chest. Okay. Hair extensions, hair at the event, tanning, buy matte makeup, fake eyelashes. You definitely need eyelashes on stage for sure. So figure that out. I had my friend Raven, who is a fabulous makeup artist, teach me ahead of time because I was doing my own makeup and I felt confident in everything except for the lashes. I was like, girl, you have got to teach me. I'm afraid it's going to be like crooked on stage. I'm going to go out there and it's going to be like these two crooked lashes. So I had her teach me how to do it right. So go to your friend that is good at this stuff and ask her to help, and just do makeup with her before your competition if you're not good at this. So you need highlighter under your eyes, liquid eyeliner, shadow that looks good with your skin tone and your suit. You want to also pick a suit that goes well with your skin tone, right? Liquid eyeliner, you want to do black. You want to just enhance those eyes as much as possible, blush and bronzer. So the reason why this is important is because you want the overall look, right? So people do get, I don't want to say voted, but the judges don't give you as many points if you don't have the overall package. They want to see a pretty face with good makeup that's not overdone or underdone. They want to see pretty hair. They want to see the jewelry, and the bikini has to fit right. They want the fit to be good. They don't want it falling off, and they don't want it looking like a diaper, right? It has to be a good fitting bikini. And then your stage presence. So all that has to do with your stage presence. So that's why all of this fluff stuff. So for me, this part was really, really hard. Getting the hair and the makeup dialed in, because I'm not someone that does a lot of hair and makeup. I was like, I got this gym thing down. I know how to build muscle. I've got this diet thing down, but all this other stuff is not as fun for me. But if I wanted to go through the experience, this is what I had to learn. Okay, so you want to pack food for your trip. Most of the time, the hotel is not going to have what you need. However, a lot of the hotels now have a competitor diet available. So they might have a special menu for the competitors. Okay, P-cup. So when you're tan and it's a spray tan and it's really dark, you do not want to sit on a toilet. So a lot of people use pee cups to make sure that the pee doesn't like accidentally run down your leg or something, because that is not a good look for your tan. And it's super embarrassing to go back to the tanning lady and have her fix you up with piss on your leg because you can't take a shower either. So people are very cautious and use a pee cup and don't sit on the toilet because you can see it with your spray tan. Hand sanitizer. So you don't want to wash your hands. The water will splash. So using hand sanitizer is a much safer way. Over-the-counter meds. So you want Benadryl, mild laxative, gas relief, minerals, and Midol. These are just, doesn't mean you're going to use them, but you just have them on hand just in case something starts going sideways. Like you can't poop before you go on stage or something like that. Okay. Jewelry. So jewelry is about $100. The blingy jewelry. Reserve your hotel room. Reserving it early, there's usually some sort of a discount if you do that. Budget in the cost of travel for gas or for a flight. Shoes are usually $70. They may be more now. They want you to in 5-inch heels. Nails, you have to get your nails done. I forgot about that. So nails and toes. Posing, it's about $35 per session if you do a group posing session with a coach. And practicing without a mirror. So at first you are going to want to practice with a mirror, but at some point you're going to want to try to just video yourself and then practice without a mirror, because when you're on stage, you're not going to have a mirror. These are things that I did that closer to the end. I kind of did that the last 4 to 6 weeks before the competition, and silicone bra inserts. So because I had no boobs on my first competition, I used these, and they are not cheap. So I did not know this. And when I first looked into doing a bikini competition, but there's all these different classes, and now there's even wellness as a class as well. So I started out in bikini because I felt as though it was more respectful to the sport. figure and physique and bodybuilding. If I'm talking about women's, the men's, so men has physique and bodybuilding as well, but it's different. It's a different kind of sequence. But women, from muscularity in the bodybuilding scope, is bikini is the least muscular, then wellness, then figure, then fitness, physique, and bodybuilding. Okay. Oh, here we go. I listed it out here. So this is a bikini lineup here. So these are the least muscular women. They have a different set of poses than any other group. So go to the website. This is from the Arnold. I just did a screenshot to show you that most competitions just want you to do a front pose and a back pose. That's it. And they say that over and over. Girls, just a front pose, just a back pose, because a lot of these girls watch the professionals and they get crazy on stage. They take too long. Bikini is the largest class in bodybuilding. Everybody that does bodybuilding has tried bikini. Bless you, baby. And the judges are tired and cranky. So you don't want a cranky judge. You just want to get up there, do your best front pose, do a nice transition to your back pose, get the fuck off stage. That's literally, I think, one of my first competition. I remember the guy saying, look, girls, this is taking way too long. Front pose, back pose, get the fuck off stage. This is taking too long. We were backstage until like midnight. It was terrible because they had way more entries than they had planned on. And they don't want the hand out to the side. So you'll see that sometimes in the Arnold or in the Olympia. So a lot of the amateur girls like start tying in like these hand things up, waving them up here. They don't want that. They want it down to your side. So they were really emphasizing that here. So this is wellness, and you can see that wellness, their glutes, their shoulders are pretty much the same as bikini and their waist, but they want more glute and more thigh, so hamstring and quad development, and it's a little bit harder than bikini. So you can see bikini is pretty soft, and then you've got these harder lines here, okay? And this is a new, it's about 3 years old, I wanna say. And then we've got fitness. So fitness girls are amazing. They're basically figure / physique girls who can do crazy shit with their body. They just are amazing dancers. They can do acrobatics and contortionist stuff, and they put together a routine, and then they get on stage and pose. So they do both. It's pretty incredible. And this is figure. So figure is quarter turn. So front pose, back pose, quarter turns, side and side, left side, right? And they are more muscular than bikini and harder, as they say. So less body fat and fuller muscles. Then we've got physique. They're famous for the flared out fingers and the front double bicep and rear double bicep poses. Certainly bigger and harder than figure, with a different set of poses and a bit more creative with the poses, allow more creativity with the posing to show off their bodies. And this is bodybuilding. A lot of organizations have basically gotten rid of bodybuilding competitions for females. So what I have noticed is that everybody else has stepped up. So physique looks more like bodybuilding than it used to, and figure looks more like physique than it used to, and bikini looks more like figure than it used to, which is a little bit annoying, but that's the way it's going right now. I think they're trying to reverse some of that in the judging, because it all comes down to what the judges are rewarding. And people want to win, so they follow whatever the last person, try to be as close and follow the trend of what people in the industry are winning, who's winning in that category, and then they follow that because it's evolving. It evolves over time. Okay, so throughout your prep, you're going to have a training routine. And I just go over some planning that you're going to want to do. And really just to show you that over time, you're going to be increasing your cardio and your lifting days. Doesn't mean you're lifting heavier, especially at this last 12 to 13 week phase. You're doing more reps a lot of times with the same amount of weights, because as you're getting leaner, you're not necessarily getting stronger. You're just trying to maintain your strength and maintain your muscle with hypertrophy style workouts and pump, like pump workouts, right? So when you're at the stage, you're not really building anymore. You want to do the building, the whole year prior. I mean, basically during your, as they call, off season. And if you've never done it before, I would say work on, like I said in the beginning, work on lifting for at least a year before you consider doing a cut. Okay. And the longer you've had muscle in your body, the less likely you are going to lose it in the cut phase, right? So what I've seen as well is that girls will go through a building phase for like 3 or 4 months with a coach, and then go through a cut phase right after that 4 months. And a lot of times that muscle that they built doesn't stick. I think it's because it wasn't really muscle. It was probably just glycogen stores got bigger, and so it looks bigger. Your muscles go through a phase where they expand their glycogen stores, and so they look bigger, and they maybe haven't really grown a whole lot, but it knows that you're working it more, so it grows its glycogen stores. And then when you cut, that kind of goes away, especially if you're cutting carbs. So, all right. So this is just to show some transformation. I've used these techniques with, that was me right at the day after I had my baby. This was 2 years after I had my baby. And then this was last year during COVID. And this is when I was competing. Okay. So doesn't mean that, pregnancy doesn't have to totally ruin your body. Of course, the more babies you have, the more stretch marks and things that can happen, but you can really bounce back, and I had, probably took me about a year. I just didn't take a picture of it here. I just wanted to show there's different things you can do with your body. I mean, it's so incredible, from having a baby to getting a 4-pack again, to just being like, screw it, it's COVID, I'm going to gain a couple extra pounds, to, now I'm kind of in between here right now. So once you learn the techniques, you can do it again. It's a knowledge that you're always going to retain. And then I just talk about deloads. A lot of people do not take deloads. They just think more work, more work, more work. And also because I think working out helps people not eat as much, because you're actively doing something. These deload weeks, it's harder to hit your lower calories. So a lot of people don't like those deload weeks, but they pay off, they work. So, and I'll talk more about that probably in my course. And then this is just showing some hypertrophy work, from my first competition and then before my second competition, as to the hypertrophy work just really pays off. It takes time, takes years, but as long as you're focused and you're doing exercises that work on a consistent basis and gaining strength and improving your endurance, your muscle endurance in that area, you are going to build. Work on all the muscle fibers and they will grow. Okay, so deload week examples, I list that here. And just keep in mind that 3,500 calories equals 1 pound of fat. So you want to be in a calorie deficit of about 3,500 calories per week. is ideal when you're trying to maintain muscle and cut fat. Okay. So my philosophy is it doesn't matter what kind of diet you're on, if you're vegan and vegetarian or pescatarian or flexible dieting and blah, 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 blah. The principle of reducing your calories in a cut is the same. You have to cut your calories. I mean, at the end of the day, when you're really looking at this competition, you have to document everything you're eating and you have to be accurate with it and you have to measure your food. Okay, that's the part that everybody hates. And that's the part that I don't like either. I like to do intuitive eating, which is where I'm just at maintenance and I'm working out on a regular basis and I'm maintaining. However, I love being ripped. Being ripped is so much fun, but we can't be there forever. So that's the other thing is people think once they hit that stage and have the six pack that their six pack is going to stay there forever. No, you fluctuate. You know, you might diet even if you're not competing. You might diet for summer, your six pack for summer, maintain that, and then let yourself come up a couple 5-10 pounds during the winter, and then do it all over again. So it's just a season. And bodybuilding did teach me that there are seasons. You know, we build in the winter and then cut in the summer, and it's a great fluctuation, in my opinion. So I just go over some examples and looking and asking people to look at the week as a whole can help too. I noticed that for me, if let's say I had a low calorie day of here, let's say 1,500 calories, the next day I would want more food. And then I'd kind of go back to another way of eating. So I was just making sure that my average calorie intake per day was below a certain amount. And every week I would have to cut down a certain amount of calories, okay, to hit my stage weight or my stage look, because it's not really a weight in bikini, it's height. So that's the other thing, is that your classes are determined by your height. And if you win your class, you win that height group. And then you go in with all the other girls, all the different heights. So starting with 500 calories per day, like I said, because that equals 3,500 a week. So if you're reducing your calories by 500 calories a day, that's a deficit of 3,500 a week. So you should be losing a pound of fat a week with that, as long as your exercise output is the same as it was the weeks before, right? And in this process, you're going to slowly be ramping up your cardio and your endurance workouts for pump and maintaining your muscle. Okay. And then each 2 to 4 weeks, you're going to want to be reducing that. And I would do it by 100 to 200 calories per day in a systematic way. And then I would map out what I was going to eat to meet that. How was I going to go from 2,500 calories to 2,300 calories a day? And what was that going to look like? And how, what was I going to remove or what was I going to add? So might be going from, 1 cup of rice to a half a cup of rice with a cup of that, 2 cups of vegetables. And instead of having 2 tablespoons of butter, now I'm only allowed to have 1, right? In one meal or something like that. So just making those small adjustments and making sure that your high fiber foods are your friend, and balance is not going to happen. I put this in here because balance is out the window during this time. I mean, you can try to be as healthy as you want, but you're going to be a little bit obsessive on it. Okay. Because it's a competition. You're in an eating and pump workout competition, basically. Like who can get, the most body fat off in, and get this look down on this day, on this specific day. Okay, so you can continue lifting heavy, but be cautious. So Okay, so doing something enjoyable like relaxing walks, maybe a light Zumba class. You want to keep it really light during peak week. And then you have to keep in mind that you've worked so hard that you are basically at the weight you're going to be or at the body fat percentage you're going to be. And you have to trust the process. You have to trust the process of getting the water off, because if you've done your dieting right, your body fat is at the right space. It's just all water manipulation from here on out. It's just getting the inflammation in the body to release water at the right, on the right day. And if you're getting ready to compete, you'll notice some days you look like this on the right and other days you look like this on the left. And that's just water fluctuation, right? And so this is just me going into prep and showing, I think this was a month out, 2 weeks out, and then the day of. So what do you do on the day of your competition? You, again, keep it really light, lay down a lot, raise your legs up, reduce stress, because stress is going to make you retain water. Exercise is stress. So people think, oh, I got to run, a mile because it'd be skinny for my competition like the day before. No, that's going to, blow you up. It's going to make you hold on to some water. So eating things like ginger, eating Benadryl before the night before the competition. Those little tweaks can help you reduce water. Ginger, turmeric, curcumin, all that stuff. Oh, high carb versus low carb. So I started my week with a lot of carbs. I did a lot of different tests on myself. And one thing that you can do to kind of do your timing with your carbs and the look that you like is to do a photo shoot. So on this one, I did one strategy where I wanted to be really full and do kind of like a muscle shoot. And so this is one look that I was going for. Just look jacked, and you can see the graininess in my arms. It was like granite. And if you get if you're close up, and then this was like a couple of days later or like a week later. So this is a lot softer look. So this is the same body, just with a different protocol for carbs and water. Okay. And so this was my first competition, right before my first competition. So this was like a muscle, this was actually the same shoot. I just did one in the beginning, one look in the beginning of the shoot and a second look at the end of the shoot. But I think I did like a shot of red vinegar and like chocolate. I ate like really dark chocolate and some water with some minerals. And then I did a muscle kind of a thing. And then right before that, I was all depleted. I was all flat, right? I didn't have a lot of water. And I didn't have any carbs. All right, so summary, low fiber right before as well, because fiber can make you look bloated. Start high with carbs at the beginning of peak week. You don't really have to prioritize protein, although I always eat more protein than anything else. It's just something I like to do. My body does well with that. And then sodium, you want to keep, at the very least, if you're not comfortable manipulating with sodium and minerals, you just keep your sodium levels the same all the way out. And then there are ways that you can kind of load water and then drop water. And we can talk about those later because that gets really detailed. And again, it depends on you. So you'll have to do these like little tests. And these kind of tests you can only do like during a cut. If you're not in a cut, it's really, really hard to see the differences and the details in all the muscles if you're not lean. So I highly recommend photo shoots. It's a great way to get comfortable with posing and comfortable being half naked in front of people, and also seeing what the look that you're going for, if it's actually going in the direction that you like. And then you can start writing out your prep for peak week and what works best for you and what look you like the best for your class and for you. Lean meats is what I eat for competition day: avocado, and just putting it in a salad with raw spinach and almond butter or nut butter. It's a great snack while you wait around, but I didn't do that. Rice cakes, you'll see a lot of girls with like rice cakes. I didn't do that. I just kept to like salads and lean meat and no salt, because I had to be really flat because I had more muscle than a lot of the bikini girls. So I just had to make sure I stayed really, really flat. So I couldn't have any salt. There are a ton of different ways to approach this. It's going to depend on your body and where you are with your workouts and your body type and how much muscle you have, how much fat you have to lose, and what class you're doing. There's a bunch of different supplements that you should probably look at getting. This is another item that is going to come into your budget. Sorry, my dog and my daughter fight all the time like siblings. So creatine is a fabulous 5 grams is all you need. Some girls, real small girls, only need like 2.5 grams. But 5 grams is kind of standard. Protein powder, get a high quality protein powder, vitamins and minerals, electrolytes. Fish oil is good to have around for recovery, especially if you're not eating fish on a regular basis. BCAAs are a great addition, especially if you're in the beginning stages of building muscle. Doing that intra workout and or pre-workout is a great idea. Caffeine during pre-workout and fat burners are amazing. I mean, I don't want to put too much emphasis on this because people think like fat burners are magic, but they only work if you are using the right ones and you are also cutting on your calories. They do help give you that extra energy, especially if you're in a deficit. So stimulants won't work if you're already overstimulated. If you're already using too much caffeine and fat burners and you go into a cut, they're not really going to do anything. But if you haven't been using them all year and then you go into a cut, they can help you keep your energy levels up during exercise. And then because your energy level is up during exercise, you're burning more calories as a result. And also it's helping stave off additional hunger. Caffeine and fat burners usually have a, I don't have my water, have a metabolic effect on you. And then they also have a appetite suppressing effect. So they're just a crutch. They just, they help you. I shouldn't say a crutch, but they can be a crutch, but they help assist the process of getting leaner. Shaving, so you want to exfoliate before you shave. Scrub or exfoliate every day. Use apricot scrub and shave every day. Arms, legs, stomach, bikini line, everything before your competition. A lot of girls like to wax. That's a great idea as well. The more exfoliated you are, the better you're going to absorb your tan and the more even your tan is going to be. So you want to make sure to do that. One advantage to shaving over waxing is shaving is an exfoliating process. I mean, you're literally scraping on your skin and removing dead skin. So I decided to shave instead of wax for that reason. Parabens. So as you lean out, you're going to want to keep your hormones in the forefront of your mind. And one way to optimize hormones is to get rid of parabens. So you do not want to be reheating your meals in plastics. You're going to want to try to stay away from plastic bottles. You want to have filtered water, good quality, high quality filtered water, not tap water. Think about what birth control methods you're using. It is going to affect the body composition if you are on the wrong type of birth control. Women sometimes have a hard time leaning out their legs because they have some estrogen issues. So there may be some supplements that help with that. I have used DIM in the past. It worked really well for me because I had a little bit of estrogen dominance. So that really helped me lean out quite a bit in comparison to not taking it. So I did like a certain amount of time where I didn't take it and a certain amount of time where I did. And I noticed that my legs got leaner. So, and not like a crazy difference. I'm talking, you know, I'm measuring my legs, I'm measuring upper thigh, mid thigh, above the knee, calf and, you know, the whole thing. And so I use myself as a little science experiment and try one supplement at a time when I'm changing my protocols to see what works. That's just what I do. So using lotions and soaps and hair products that do not have parabens in them are a great idea, especially when you're prepping, making sure you're taking care of your skin and putting high quality lotions and oils on them twice a day. You want the skin to follow the fat loss. So as you're dropping fat, you want the elasticity in your skin to keep up. So just lathering that sucker down twice a day. Sugar-free gum. Gum is another way that calories kind of sneak in there. So just want to make sure that you are doing that. And I put these two boxers in here because I was going to talk about more on the water manipulation and what I've done in the past to help some athletes make weight with a water manipulating process. But I think I'll talk about that later because it's such a big topic and I'm like running out of time. I'm doing way too much. I'm doing way more than I thought I would. So I get into Pop-Tarts in the book and talking about how, you know, it became this fad in bodybuilding. Competitors use it to pump up their muscles backstage. And you see a lot of girls eat donuts or Pop-Tarts or things like that. It's a little bit ridiculous when you're looking at bikini because bikini is not really supposed to be jacked. It makes sense when you're a bodybuilder and you want to get some fast carbs in there and some simple sugars to really pump up. But for some of the classes, it's just really silly. You don't need a lot for a 120-pound female. You just really don't. Like a little bit of sugar or maybe some M&Ms. I mean, it's just not, you don't need a lot. You really don't. You need less than you think, especially if you've been low carb for a day and then you add, like I said, a square of dark chocolate can just cause you to have some awesome pumps. Caffeine can cause some water retention, so you don't want to go crazy on competition day. You want to keep, have some caffeine if you're used to having 8 ounces, maybe just stick to like 4, you know, maybe just cut it down a little bit. I don't want you to be, you know, super fatigued and falling over and cranky on competition day, but just keeping it in mind, don't go crazy with the caffeine. You want to just either keep it at what you've been having every day or reduce it. So what it's like backstage, you're in this, you know, room. Some of the facilities are nicer than others, and they tape the floors because the hotel doesn't want tanning product all over their floors. But it's not super glamorous, you know, it's just you stand in line and you wait, you know, for your class to be called, class A, B, C, D, E, F. And F is the tallest class, A is the shortest class. And then they call your class and you stand in line and you listen to the guy that's telling you, or the girl, the stage manager, when you go on, and you walk out there and go in order and you go where they tell you. They have people on stage that point to what X they want you to stand on and who's going out next and when you go back out stage. So they will direct you. Okay, and there's usually a box on the floor where you do your front pose, back pose, and then go back to your spot. So again, I am not a good poser. This is an awful stage photo. Again, even if you pay for stage photos, you can still end up getting like the worst ones for you, but there you go. I won, so I must not look that bad. I think they picked like the worst time to take a picture of me. Okay, so prejudging. So you're going to go out, you do your front pose, back pose, and your prejudging. And you face the judges in your front pose. You shift all of your weight to one side. You point your toes out slightly. You twist your torso all crazy. Like if you take a posing class, your coach will have you like, your hip is facing the wall, and then you twist your shoulders and you square up to that wall. And that really accentuates your waist and your glute and makes your shoulders, makes your waist look smaller. It's way harder than it looks. The first time I did it, I was like, wait, you want me to stand how? This is like crazy. I've got to do some yoga before this. It's like, got to be kind of flexible. And then back pose, it's where you're showing your glutes. Again, I thought this would be super easy, but there is a technique to it. I show that here. These are some stage photos from me right here on the left. And you don't want to bend over too much and look like stripper pose. You do want to arch your back and show off those glutes and hamstrings. And then I wanted my hair to cover my back because my back was too muscular for bikini. So that was my strategy with doing the longer hair so that I could continue to do bikini and not have to go up to figure, because I just wasn't ready for figure mentally. I probably should have just done it, but I might do it later, but I just haven't gotten the itch. Finals after prejudging. So usually in prejudging, the judges have pretty much picked the top 3 to 5 competitors that they're going to be looking at. However, they can change their mind at any time. So you got to bring it, even if you botched prejudging, bring your best at finals, because it can change and they can change their mind at the last minute. Okay. And they're going to do first call outs. And that's where then they do that in prejudging. You kind of figure out who's in first call outs, and then they finalize everything in finals. Okay. So you've got novice class, open class, and master. So novice, if you have placed in any competition, the top 3 are not eligible for novice. But if it's your first show, you can certainly do novice, or just do the open. I just did the open every time. I didn't feel the need to do novice. I just did open and went with that. And then masters are 35 years of age or older. All right, so I'm going to do a follow-up. Like I said, I'm going to have some classes available. If anybody's interested, I have links down below to talk about what classes are going to be offered in diet, nutrition, and in the conversation that we're having today. So please go down below. Let me know if you're interested. Just use common sense, be kind to yourself. Stick to what you've written down for yourself, especially if you're coaching yourself. Write out your plan, follow the plan, and then reevaluate every 2 to 4 weeks, depending on what phase you're in. And we'll go over all that later, but stick to what's working for you. Everybody's a little bit different. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. If you know of anybody that would find this interesting, please share it. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you for hanging out with me.